saw what it looks like, and what all that chewed up bark and trees and brush and all that kind of thing look like. So you can see that. That's exactly what this area that I'm going to show you looked like whenever we finished up with the forestry mulching. The difference is what we did on this paddock is we used the pigs. Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farm. Welcome back to the farm. So we've gotten through a little bit of the monsoon that we've been having out here for the past couple weeks, and we've got a real pretty day today. Sun's shining, it's not raining, temperatures in the mid-40s, so it's a great day to be outside working. The ground is still real soft, so we've got to be careful about bringing equipment like the tractor and that sort of thing out. But we'll work through that. At least we can get outside and work a little bit. So we've got an interesting thing that we're going to try today. A little bit of an experimentation. We're going to see if it works. Today's the day that we need to move the sheep, and they're right over here over my left shoulder. And we're going to move them over here to where I am now. But if you'll notice, the ground is a lot of chewed up, mulched up brush. So this area that I'm standing on, last year, we had a gentleman come in with a forestry mulcher and mow all this down. This was covered in sweet gum trees and just little brush and saplings and that kind of thing. And it was so thick, you couldn't even walk through here. We did turn the pigs in, and you know, the pigs would do a real good job of clearing stuff out, eating stuff down, and would open it up a little bit, but there was still this bigger stuff that was, 3 and 4 inches in diameter that we just had to get down. So had a forestry mulcher come in and chew all this up. We're going to graze the sheep on this. So hang around, find out how we're going to do that, what we're going to try, and let's see if it works. So before we get started, first thing I want to do is kind of give you a little bit of the lay of the land on what we're working with, what we're going to try to accomplish, and what this should look like when we get done. So I've got 3 sections of the Premier 1 sheep and goat netting. This is the 9-35-12 spacing. So we're going to use 3 sections of that, and we're also going to use a 4th section by tying these guys in to the pig fence where we've got our pigs at right now. We've got a connector right there, so that'll be perfect. We'll just tie in right there. That way we can get the spark on the section for the sheep. So we're going to use the back piece of netting that we've got the pigs on, and incidentally we use the exact same thing for the pigs. It works great. Working this year to try to transition over to running a 2-wire system, because that'll give us a lot more flexibility. But anyway, so we're going to have 4 sections of netting, which is going to give us about 6/10 of an acre, a little over half an acre. So that'll be a good sized spot for our sheep and what we're going to try to do with them. So we are going to give them some grass. So they're going to have a little bit of grass over here, but the trick's going to be, what can we do with the mulched area? Got an idea, so we're going to put this fence up and start giving it a try today. So let's put some fence up. Couple thoughts that I want to share on this Premier 1 netting. And we'll start out by saying I really like it. I mean, it's really easy to put up and take down, and it stores good, and it's very effective at keeping the animals where you want them. So that's the first thing. Couple things I don't like about it. On the netting like this, like we're using here, if you're in a rough spot where you've got a lot of snags or brush or debris or anything like that, it's a little bit of a pain to pull it tight, to break it down, and then to fold it up. So that's really my biggest complaint with it, is it just doesn't work really well where you've got little nubs and brush and stumps and that kind of thing. So, but other than that, it's fine. Another thing, a couple things that we've learned, and this is just from our experience in using it for, this is going to be our 3rd year. First thing is to pull the slack out of this stuff effectively. You really need to go ahead and get your ends set and up. So, for example, what I'll do here is I'm going to set this end post, tie it into the pig fence, and start pulling the fence and putting it up. When I get down here, I'm going to tie the other end in. So we've pulled a couple of sections already, and I don't know if it shows up real good on the camera or not, but right there is the end for another section that I pulled. So we'll tie in up there, I'll come down here, we'll tie in there, and then we'll pull taut everything that's in the middle. And that makes it much easier to pull all your slack out and not have a area where you're trying to mess around and get it tight. So tie the ends in first and then pull the slack out of the middle as you set it up. That's another trick. So real quick, this is what I mean by tying your ends together and then pulling the slack out in the middle. So you can see up here, this is tied in up next to the pigs, and then the left-hand side here, right there, is tied in back over in that direction. So I've got slack left here. So what we'll do is we'll pull those tight, and that takes all the slack out. So it's really easy to pull that out and get a nice tight fence. So the last thing I want to say about fencing and putting up the Premier 1 style. On the post, if you will pull the post in the direction that you're going and then take your foot, let me show you. On this fence, if you will pull from that direction, which is the direction that it's coming, get it untangled. Pull from the direction that it's coming, and then take your foot, put a little pressure, and then lean it back away from the grazing area, and then push your post in. You get a nice tall stand up, and it stays pretty tight. It's real easy to go back and fix and tighten up later on if you need to. So that's a quick and easy way to get your fence nice and tight. Another thing to keep in mind when you're setting up your netting is if you're turning a tight corner, you need some support in it. So this corner right here, we're coming down the hill, and we're turning, and then we're going out. So we've got a fairly tight turn right here. What you want to do is take a step-in post and put it right in the corner with your fence post and lean it out away from the direction that the tension's being put on. If not, what you'll end up with is this is going to bow in, and over time it will bend those fiberglass posts. So just something with a little bit of support. Push it out. You may need to come back over a couple days or weeks or whatever, reset that little corner post that you've got your tension pushing out on. That'll save your fiberglass posts that are woven into the fence. Makes a huge difference. Okay, we have our new sheep pasture set up. A little over half acre, about 6/10 of an acre. And they're going to be in here right next to the pigs. We've given them some trees for cover, shade, windbreak, that type of thing. Nice tight fence, standing upright, looks good. We're going to open up the two sections, pull them close together, the ends, so that they've got a bit of an alleyway, and see if we can move them across. Come on, sheep. Come on, sheep, 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 sheep. Come on, sheep, 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 sheep. Come on, sheep, 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 sheep. It's that easy. Most of the time. Okay. We've got the pig fence and the sheep fence tied in together here, running out a three-way, and we use that's a Speedrite 2000. We've got a couple of those. We've been using those. This is our third year. We've been really pleased with them. I'll post a link to those in the description down below. So let's test everything. We're going to walk around here and test the we'll go test the pig side first, a good distance away from. I tell you what, we'll walk down here and test it where the sheep and pig come back together on the other side. All right, so I use this is a Gallagher fault finder. Somebody asked me in a previous video where I'd got that. I'll put a link to it in the description down below too. So they've got them on Amazon. So on the pig side, 1800. But on the sheep side, about 3000. Okay, got 3000 on the pig. I've got some stuff leaned up against it here. That's part of the problem. Yeah, let's kick that away. So we're only getting about 3000. I need to go back and check the ground, make sure we got a good ground. I'll walk around and make sure we've got the fence clear and we're not grounding out somewhere. Let's walk down here to the low side on the sheep and see what it is on the lower side. So we're still getting about 3000 volts. We're still getting about 3000 volts on sheep and pigs. We really like to be around 5 or 6. Particularly on sheep, I like for it to be a little hotter because of predators. But we'll walk around, make sure that we've got good ground and the fence isn't touching the ground and we're grounding out somewhere like that. So, but that Speedrite ought to push enough juice through this thing to give a good spark. So we'll walk around and check it. Okay, we've got the new sheep paddock set up for them. They're already out here eating on some grass. There's a little bit of grass in here, and I figure they're going to go after that first. There's not a lot, but there is some grass, so they're going to go after that first. They'll mow it down pretty quick, and we expect that. But this is what we're going to try to use to rebuild this area here and get some grass growing. So we're going to follow a principle called Bale grazing, and the way that works is on this area we're going to put out some hay. We're going to take some bales of hay and we're just going to scatter it around, and the sheep are going to eat some of it. They won't eat all of it because they're going to walk on it, and they're going to put down some manure and urine on it, and it's not going to be appetizing to them, so they're not going to want to eat it, but they're going to eat some of it. But what we really are trying to achieve, and I believe we're going to get some of that with this mulch that we've got here, but we're going to add some hay to it. What we want to achieve is we want these sheep to walk around on this hay, stomp it in, urinate, defecate on it, and start building that into the soil. And over time, as all of this decomposes and composts, we're going to get a good thicker layer of topsoil. Now, we may have to come back and sow a little bit of grass seed or some rye, clover, and that kind of thing on it, but that's fine if we need to do that. But first we want to try to let the animals build the soil for us. This is the way that, you know, God intended for all this to work, is for the animals to rebuild the soil by eating the grass and then putting down manure and urine and adding some compost and organic matter to that soil. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to try here. We're going to have these sheep on this area for, you know, a couple weeks. We'll see what they do. If we need to move them quicker, we'll move them quicker. But what we want to do is use the animals to rebuild the farm and rebuild our soil for us. And in the end, what we're really trying to accomplish is growing grass. We've got the sheep now on this area that was mulched. You saw what it looks like, and what all that chewed up bark and trees and brush and all that kind of thing look like. So you can see that. That's exactly what this area that I'm going to show you looked like whenever we finished up with the forestry mulching. The difference is what we did on this paddock is we used the pigs. And a couple of weeks before the pigs moved off, well, a couple days before the pigs moved off of this area right here, we sowed some rye, some fescue, and some clover. And we gave the pigs a few days to walk around and stomp that seed in. And it's really, really clear. It's really easy to tell. Of course, I know some of it's rye and it's real green, but it's also really easy to tell where the fence line was. And so the pigs spent a couple of days in this paddock with the seeds, stomping it into the ground. Probably not going to achieve this dramatic of a result with the bale grazing, but it's an option for us. We want to try it, see how it works, and just see if it makes a difference in how we can get the grass to grow where all that mulch and bark and stuff was at. And you can still see there's some areas right over in here where it's really, really thick, and it'll take a while for that to compost down, but it's already starting and it's making a huge difference. Again, this was done the exact same time. I think this was done the day before where the sheep are now. This was mulched the day before that was. So I think that's about it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. We appreciate you tuning in and watching our channel and kind of seeing how we're doing things on a small scale and producing food on a local basis. We've had a lot of good comments from our customers and folks that we come in contact with, and we just really appreciate that. That means a whole lot to us. Hit that subscribe button. Follow along with us. There's a little bell icon down in the corner as well. Click that so you know whenever we're posting new videos. And share these things with share these videos with folks that you think might have an interest in small farming and where their food comes from, and just living a rural lifestyle. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks.